Oh, Jesus.
That's a good start, Tina. So good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Bonjour, bonsoir. Since Tina now is speaking French fluently, and she just had a conversation before that, and she's saying she's going to do this podcast in French today. That's what you said. Yeah. No, just kidding.
She's still practicing.
She's still learning. So welcome everyone to our 22nd episode of The Divine Mess, where we are going to have some fun today because Tina is going to channel more messages. That's what she said as well.
Yeah,
but
right.
For the ones who are listening to us for the first time, welcome. And our audience who turn in every week, who are regular members, I would say now, listeners, thank you for and welcome back. So my name is Kirtideva Peruman, also known as Deva. I host The Divine Mess with my lovely co-host, like she likes to say all the time. But I will let her introduce herself. Briefly about me, I'm a holistic life coach living in New Zealand, originally from Mauritius, where Tina is going on her next vacation. Sponsored
or I'm
by
going to New Zealand. One of the two.
Well, I'm the CEO and founder of the Heroes Mystic, where we help you to find your inner heroes, awaken your potential, and just break through your fears and doubts and limiting belief, and also balance the divine masculine and feminine energies. And that's what the Divine Mess is all about, like in fun ways. Even if we don't mention it often, we do share our different views from the divine masculine and divine feminine energies. And that's why we started the podcast like 23 weeks ago, I think, or 22. Yeah. And we have been showing up.
It's been birthing for quite some time before it actually came to air, I would say.
Yeah, like for 18 months, we've known each other and we have been talking it for over a year. A year before we actually, say no. Yeah. We just press record. And that's how we started. And we are still learning and growing with it alongside. We have fun conversation every single week. We have good reminders. And I don't think today would be any different. Because we are going to speak about the self. And on that note, I will leave Tina to introduce and start speaking about the self.
Speaking about self, okay. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you're happening to reside at the moment, whether the sun is shining or it is not. I'm Tina Marie, and I'm a love coach. And like my fellow friend sitting next to me, I own a business called Dharmas & Co, where we teach you how to love the person that you stare at in the mirror every single morning. And yes, that can lead to feeling very icky, which is going to be the topic of conversation today, about gratitude for self. It's just so happened on my Spotify feed that where half of our inspiration, I think, sometimes comes from, was the book called The Magic. And so I take a picture of it and I shoot it across to David and said, have you read this? And then he sends me a picture back holding the book up going, you mean this one? And I'm like, yes, that one. And so the first day's practice is to write 10 things that you are grateful for. And I sat and thought about it for a day or two, because as you do, you just kind of ease yourself into a practice. It's nothing like going at 1,000 miles an hour to start off with. So the first day I endeavoured to try and be grateful for things about myself. Oh, that was an interesting practice, because I think I got 2 or 3 things in and then went, oh, that feels really icky and freaking uncomfortable. And then I'd start to think about my day, or it was very easy to find gratitude for the man I live with, for my children, for the house that I live in, for my furry animals that love me, even though they really only regard me as the food truck in the morning and the evening. So being grateful for you know, the brilliant brain that I have that's taken nearly 50 years to marinate with all the good, fun, juicy stuff that we end up sharing with you every week, and the eyes that I can see, and the mouth that enables me to speak to you all every week, I'd get that far and then go, oh, no, I'm not doing that. And it just so happened that I had a conversation with my coach on Sunday and was speaking to her about it being really uncomfortable to practice gratitude about the self, very easy to practice about everything else. And she said, okay, let's do an inner child timeline walk back. And I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. And it was very interesting when you get back to that point in time where, as a parent, I can see it from a parent perspective, but when you look at it from a 4-year-old's perspective, that I've been plonked here in the corner to play with my Barbies, and my mum's got a new baby that screams her box off all the time, and she's got no time to hang out and play with me. And I think that's where my F you attitude came from a very young age, was that I had to be extremely self-sufficient to teach myself the things that I needed to know, that it wasn't, not that I think it was overtly expressed, it was just that you need to figure shit out for yourself, kid. You know, I'm a little bit busy and I've got a baby that requires my time and my effort. And it was almost like you're the old model and you get stuck on the shelf. And it's like, well, what am I supposed to do now? I'm kind of, I still need as much as time and attention as anybody else. But it's been a challenge for me throughout my entire life to be able to utilize my voice. And thank God I met the delightful Miss Wendy Corner, who gave me a platform to know how to utilize it well and to introduce me to my delightful work husband. And though my partner is always like, how's your second husband going? I said, oh, yeah, he's good. No divine mess for him this week, so life is fine. So I guess I do wonder how everybody else goes with standing in the mirror and, you know, giving praise where praise is due for your ability to have weathered the storms that you have traversed in your life, you know, whether they be little things or whether they be big things, they're all leading you towards something. Unfortunately, we don't get the whole playbook when we sign up to this lovely human experience. We get, I think, pieces of the puzzle, or looking in a kaleidoscope, and then it gets turned and then the picture changes. So I would just be interested to know how comfortable you are in giving thanks for all the things that you have walked through, all the ugly, all the good, all the bad, all the bits in between, and know that you got through all of it. You came out the other side and you've managed to pull yourself up and get up out of the mess and still keep moving forward. I can honestly say, and I think Dave has seen me in quite a few of those moments where I have wanted to curl up against the refrigerator and just go, I'm done. I said it to my ex-husband, and sometimes I have wanted to say it in the balance of my life that I'm done, I've had enough. But then you have those moments where you go, hang on a minute, no. What am I meant? And then the awakened brain always steps in and goes, well, what are you supposed to learn out of it? What are you supposed to get out of it? All these trials and tribulations that you've moved through, what have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about your ability to cope, to think through a different scenario for any given situation that's come up, whether it's in work relationships or family relationships, and then going, oh yeah, there's a solution. You're not always going to get what you need or what you want. But most of the time, you will get what is required for you to take the next step. You'll get the next piece of your tool belt, or, you know, the extension on you, you know, on that beautiful bowl of knowledge that you are gathering as you move through life, so that you can take on the next adventure. I just keep going, okay, what page am I meant to turn to next? I just keep choosing the next and the next and the next. But some days it's hard. Some days you want to sit in the muck and just go, woe is me and my life's shit. But the thing is, gratitude breeds more abundance. And this is the thing that I've learned after I've been reading Rhonda's book, is that there's been, particularly with my partner, is something that we both practice with each other all the time, is showing appreciation and gratitude and thanks for just the simple things, the little things, like thank you for hanging out the washing, or thank you for putting on the dishwasher, or thank you for feeding the dogs, or thank you for doing the grocery shopping, because it just shows that, oh, thank God I don't have to take all this weight by myself. Because when you are a single parent, for those of you gorgeous humans out there who are doing it all by yourself, it hurts your brain when you've got to think about all the stuff that needs to get done on any given day, irrespective of your own emotional trauma or shiz that you've got to move through, or that your kids have to move through, or the fact that you've got to come up with the rent money and the grocery money and all the stuff by yourself. It's so nice when you have somebody that goes, I'm going to the shops, what can I get for you? And you're like, oh, great. There is a severe mental load of things that get processed in your brain when you're doing it all by yourself. And the problem is, it's not like a broken arm or a broken leg that people can see. They can't see the mental load. So when you do have somebody that you choose to move into the second season of your life with, practicing gratitude, especially if you've not experienced a truly good relationship, brings more goodness into the relationship. In the same way, I've practiced gratitude in other areas and it's worked out beautifully. But there are some places where I've got a beautiful home. I don't practice gratitude for it because I'm always looking for the home that I really truly want. So instead of being grateful for the roof over my head, and I've got a place where I can feed my babies and I can take care of my partner and I can take care of myself, I'm wanting the home that I saw 20 years ago in my head, that Margaret Mary decided to give me a vision of that 20 years ago, but hasn't given me the roadmap as to how to get there. So my beautiful life skills of patience, trust, and surrender are lacking in that area. So it is a space in which I am having to be more grateful for, so that the house turns up a lot bloody faster than hopefully what is expected. So how about you, Mr. D?
Well, thank you for sharing that, and for being so vulnerable about what you've been through the past week and past weekend, because that's we were talking about it a bit like just before the call, and I feel that's really important for people to know that as coach as well, we do have coaches as well, and we do need that third person opinion, like like that perspective or second person perspective.
Yep.
That's neutral in our life, and that's what coaches are about, and that will guide you to the next level, and thank you for sharing that. And I feel that whatever you describe is like you're looking ways to accept different parts of yourself, the self with the capital S, and that's what we are talking about. And I feel that you describe it in your own way, like about being grateful and how you find it difficult. And when I did that exercise, I did the magic practices I was telling you like a few years ago, and I think I did it in Mauritius as well. And it took me a while like to understand. And for me, it was just writing. And I remember at that time, I actually Google things, what to like about yourself, like what I can like. And
Wow.
I did that a few years ago. And it was a few years ago because it was not because I was in that, like masculine energy where it's just doing inaction and there's no connection with myself, like being compassionate, understanding and loving towards myself. So, and I actually, for that exercise, because if I'm not mistaken, you have to write 10 things to be grateful every single day, right? For
Correct.
30 days. And it's 10 new things. And I actually went online and looked for 300 write about, like to am I resonating with that or not? And that's how I got through that exercise the first 10 days. But then it came flowing after
Yes.
that
Yeah.
because I couldn't connect. I couldn't find anything at that point in time. I was telling you, like, and then because now I did it a few months ago. Actually, I did it and it was flowing easily because I could
Yes.
find things to find about myself because I connected it with the mirror work by Louise Hay, where it's another 21 days of self-love. And that's the journey to self-love, where I could actually look myself in the mirror. And, like when you're looking in your eyes and it's like looking in your soul. And ever that I felt so much love for myself, like looking, and I actually told myself, oh my God, you have such beautiful eyes. And that's how I told myself, because I never, ever thought of that. Like I have beautiful eyes, right? And that's why I started to find things about me, like my hair. I know everyone said that I love playing with my hair. That's a thing that they keep saying. Like when I had shorter hair as well, everyone said, oh my God, you play so much with your hair. But well, I love playing with my hair. And I know it's a way of soothing or something. They say self.
Yeah.
And for me, it makes me feel good, right? It was one way to make me feel good. But it was finding those little things on the external. Then I started to focus on the internal, like about like my skill of listening, being an empath, having those gifts. And I know it takes a different part of yourself. And like you would say, the ugly part, it's only the mind and the ego that define it as ugly, because yourself with the capital S will never define you as ugly.
No, and I think it's more the ugly is a better way of being termed of the things that you don't want to look at. The stuff that's hidden under the rug, where all the bodies get buried. That like, oh no, I don't. I don't like that. Sometimes I can be a right judgy bitch, and sometimes there are elements and parts of myself that I'm like, oh no, that's not pretty. But I think in those respects, it's a matter of recognizing quickly that we're moving down a rabbit hole of complaining or comparison, which leads to more lack. The ugly or the discomfort that we feel in a relationship with someone else should lead to a better understanding of self, because it's a mirror. Everything that we produce in our lives is an accurate reflection of where we are. So
yeah, and I think like there's that this quote that keep coming back on my TikTok, my Instagram. It says it's from a podcast that Chris Williamson says this. It's the magic that you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. And I feel that that's the theme of today. I feel like what you have been talking about, when you're doing the inner child, which if you have ever done it, you know how scary it could be. But in the end, like you would feel so good, like about yourself, because that's a pain, that's a place that people avoid to go. That's the shadow that people avoid to go. Like you were talking about, like parts that we may not like being the judgy bitch, like, and that's the shadow self, and that's accepting yourself, part of it. It's part of you, because for me it's like taking back to a movie like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse. It's the second one of Doctor Strange, where he saw his dark side and in another dimension. And I feel that we all have that, and he has been avoiding that. And in the movie, it kind of said that your worst enemy is you, because he was thinking like, what could be that worst enemy of his? But it was himself, it was his shadow self. But once you learn to love and accept yourself, like, it will just flow, and the true self with the capital S will come out. And that's the light, the divine, the source, however you want to name it. That's what will pop out. And all those parts that you kind of rejected, didn't like, it will be just pure acceptance, compassion, understanding. You will be so much loving towards you. And that's what people needs to remind themselves, be kind to themselves. Like, for example, once you did your inner child work, it's about reminding yourself, like, be kind to you. And that's how you need to be to the inner child as well, being kind, being patient. And we we know, surrender to the process. And we both know how much we love that word, and I feel that's a major life lesson for both of us, like surrender and trust the process. And we keep talking about that, but it's like when you go back to your true self, that's what you will find that it was worth the wait. It was worth going through all those, like, dark times maybe that you find, and just accept how it is.
Yeah. But it was much after doing that inner child work yesterday, I could write the 10 things and give gratitude, and could find more than 10, which was fascinating. And my brain stayed on track. My ego wasn't trying to go, oh, this is bright and shiny, come this way, come and have a look. So yeah, it's a very interesting path. And then as you're going through, you're needing to revisit each day's 10 things and to say thank you 3 times, because there's power in that, for everything that you have written there on the list. And a little bit like the podcast, it's a good reminder, it's a good gentle reminder of God, oh yeah, that's right, I like that bit about myself. And excuse me, I'm not, but I'm possibly being a bit critical of the fact that I haven't gone to the gym, or I haven't done any exercise today. I've been nurturing my emotional soul, or I've been nurturing my spiritual soul today, instead of nurturing my physical soul that often needs to move regularly to feel a sense of accomplishment, to feel that we have moved through something and essentially ticking a box, right? So it's like, oh, I've ticked that box today, so how else can I show up for myself? How much work are all of you actually doing? Because it's really easy to show up for yourself physically. Doesn't take much. Walking the dogs around the block, maybe doing a bit of yoga at home, going to the gym, jumping on a bicycle, riding to the grocery store. Those things are easy to do. And going to work, you're fulfilling a box, you're showing up for yourself financially. Might not be super financially literate, but you're showing up so that you can afford to pay your bills. But how are you showing up for yourself in that mental capacity? How are you nurturing and taking care of your mental health? Do you have people that you can reach out to when you're having a crisis of confidence and thinking that you're going to throw everything in your life in a dustbin and put it out for curbside collection? Or, you know, what do you do in that sense for your mental health? And then you've obviously got your spiritual health. How much personal development are you doing? How are you connecting back to the divine? How are you giving back to the space that's given birth to you? You know, how are you walking amongst your community? How are you, you know, are you being a good citizen in your community? You know, are you giving back? You know, if you have an abundance of things, if you've got lemons and oranges growing in your back garden, are you distributing them out towards your neighbours? You know, or are you just letting them all rot on the ground because you can't be bothered picking them up? So these are all the things that we have to, we feel are important for being well-rounded, is showing up for ourselves in all of these aspects. And it makes a difference in your relationship too when you break all of those things down in your relationship and how do you show up. But all those things, if you're showing up for all of those parts for yourself as often as is humanly possible for you, and it may just be one thing that you need to concentrate on or that you have capacity and space for, do that. If you need help, if you need to talk to someone about things that are weighing too heavy on you, reach out to somebody. Reach out to either one of us. God knows, you both know that we love to have a conversation. So we're here to be that sounding board, to sit and nod and listen over a Zoom call or over a phone conversation and go, that's tough. How does it make you feel? Yeah, that's our role. So that's why we do the work, so that we have the capacity to hold the space. That's the thing. As we grow spiritually and we end up being able to hold a greater amount of space in the times where it feels dark and in the times where it feels light, we just, that's why we're put here. And now that we've finally kind of gotten the gist of it and gotten enough slaps up the backside of the head to recognize that that's what we're here to do, we know that the work of the self is so important, so that we can then be better guides for those that come to us and say, where do I start? What's a good first step? And that's probably a good question for the science man, is to, what's a good first step? I mean, starting to pick up a book, I found, was a good first step in me examining myself. But I don't know, what do you think?
Like, even listening to podcasts, or because if you're not willing to sit down with yourself, I say the best thing is to sit down with yourself and just write everything down. Like, just write everything that's going through your mind, the good, the bad, as you label it, whatever you label it, just write everything down. But if you're not willing to do that, because it asks for a lot of courage to do that, lots of guts to face yourself. And sometimes people are scared of their light because they know that's what they are going to find, but it's like scary. The ego is convincing you that no, that's not safe. You're not good enough for that. You're not good enough to handle your light. And that's what the ego will tell you. But listening to podcasts or finding a motivational video, or ask the universe, where do you want me to go? How do I find myself, my true self? What's the best way? And maybe that book will fall out of the shelf, or maybe that podcast will just pop up. One of our episode maybe will pop up, or someone else episode might pop up. And in that episode, just put your hand on your heart before you start listening and say, what do you want me to listen to? What message do you have for me that's going to help me move one step forward? And just asking those deep questions, because sometimes we are scared of those deep questions because we think it's like dark waters and we can't see the bottom of it. We don't know the depth, and that's scary. And I feel that inner child or doing self-love, these are like diving in those deep and dark waters. But deep down, even doing that inner child, I'm pretty sure you felt it as well. You know that your intuition is telling you this is what you need to do. This is what you got to do. And that's what you got the courage and, of course, the help of your coach to go through that, because you were not alone. And that's what I tell people as well. Like, you can listen to inner child meditation online and go on YouTube. There's so many of them. But if you're not ready to face the truth, or if you had a traumatic experience, I think both of us would highly recommend that you go and find a professional that's going to help you
1000%.
through that journey, because it's not easy sometimes. It open up, they like to say here, like, it opened a can of worms. But for me, it's like I shifted it to, it actually opened the treasure chest to love. And that's what you're scared of. To feel love, to be open, to be vulnerable, and to accept every part of you, to be compassionate towards yourself. Because once you're doing all of that, guess what? All your relationship will reflect that. And that's scary, because our ego has convinced us. And even if you look around, like in the TV shows, in the movies that you watch, just check out what kind of characters are you attracted to. I was reading that book, Light is the New Black, by Rebecca Campbell. And in there, she tells a story when she was moving out, I think, if I'm not mistaken. She was boxing all her DVDs, and she had a routine, and she just broken up. And then she realized that from the DVDs she had, the movies she used to watch with her roommate was all about strong female leads that end up being alone. And that's what she reflected in her life, and that's how she felt good. And then she was like asking herself, well, that's what I always watch in my life, right? So ask yourself, what kind of movies, TV shows, like any information, even what you're listening to, even the podcast, even the radio, the news, even those kind of channel, we know it's all about the drama, and it's all about that. But ask yourself, is it worthy of your time, of your energy? And ask yourself, why are you attracted to that? And that's a start as well of inner work as well.
It's looking at the patterns, right? It's looking at the things that we're drawn to because we've not done the work. And I'm also listening to Brené Brown's To Dare Greatly. And she talks a lot about vulnerability in that, and how icky and uncomfortable. And, she's a Texan, and it's just like lock and load, let's go. I don't have time for this airy-fairy vulnerability crap. I've got to get in there and get stuff done. Because she spoke to her coach, and she said it feels excruciating and it feels very and she said, oh no, vulnerability is exquisite. And she said, well, how the hell do I get from excruciating to exquisite? And it comes with time and effort and work, and the need to dare greatly, to look to open all your cupboards and your doors and look inside and see what it is that you're going to find. It might not be as scary as you think that it's going to be. And you'll probably find that all the rocks will, well, not all, but a good portion of them will come off your shoulders, and you'll feel freer, and you watch how your life changes the minute you start to hook and let go of things. Your true inner self gets to shine, and you get to be that light, and then you start to magnetize completely different humans and different experiences and great abundance. And I'm not just talking about financial, but I'm just in the joy that comes in your life. Even when life doesn't feel so joyous, there's still moments of it. So the more we appreciate ourselves and the more we give thanks and we're grateful for the fact that you've got to open your eyes for another day. That's one thing. That's at least one thing you can write down on your thing of 10, that I got to open my eyes and I'm still breathing. So it means I've still got time to do the things that I want to do. You know, you don't want to be on your deathbed going, I wish I had have had the courage, or I wished I had have told that person how I felt, or I wish I had have dared to love with the entirety of who I am. So I suppose our wish for you all today is to maybe practice a little bit of Mel Robbins, and she talks about it in the high five habit, to go and stand in front of the mirror, high five yourself. Like, Jesus, kid, you showed up today, you got up, you pulled your pants on, you got ready. You're able to live and see another day. Make the most of it. Be brave and be that little bit vulnerable, and be mindful of who you share your vulnerabilities with, but be brave enough to expose yourself, expose your underbelly just a little bit, because you might find it gives somebody else the courage and the permission to do it too. So there are great friends out there. You've just got to be brave enough to kind of go, can I tell you something? And that's how it starts. That's how podcasts start. So,
Or send some memes.
or send some memes. Memes are good.
Yeah, just to start.
Memes are very good.
That's how we communicate most of the time.
Yes.
But whenever we are talking, we do have those deep conversations. We do dig in deep, I would say, into those shadow work, like doing that shadow work. And like you said, like being vulnerable and be mindful with whom you share your energy. Because there's that, I think it's a study, or everyone says about it. It's like, look around the 5 people you're spending your time mostly, and just ask yourself, are they draining you, or are they empowering you? Are they talking about goals or people? Are they talking about how to grow yourself, or just gossiping? And just ask yourself those type of questions. Is it worthy of your energy or not? And if not, just find new people. And if you can't find new people, go online, find some online mentors, and that will lead you to some like-minded individuals, because we found ourselves through a mentor, right? A voice coach. That's
Right.
how we found ourselves, because we both felt that we had a voice, that we wanted to share it, and that it matters.
Yeah.
And we wanted to make a difference in the world. And that's how every week we're showing up in one way through the podcast, by making a difference.
Correct.
And that's one part of ourselves. And, just ask yourself, how would you describe yourself with the capital S? What does it mean to you?
Or, sometimes it's also a good question to ask the person that you share your life with, or your children, or your family. if you had to describe me to someone else, how would you describe me? What are my strongest characteristics or capabilities that you see? Because sometimes we need the reminder that we're strong, we have ability, and that we can handle anything, because some days you don't feel it so much. And it's nice to get that gentle reminder, whether it be in the form of a hair stroking or hand holding or a gentle butt kicking. It then gives us courage to know that, you know, someone's got our back and they have faith and belief in ourselves until we have enough faith and belief in ourselves. So sometimes we do need to lean on those 5 people, so long as they, like David said, that they are providing the right type of energy. You have to be mindful as when you walk away from those people, you've been seeing them, do you feel like the bath water that's draining out of the bath but literally have been sucked dry, or do you walk away feeling like you've been plugged into the power socket in the wall and you're bright and you're shining and you're buzzing and it's exciting? Have a think about all the relationships in your life and how they leave you feeling after an encounter, because that'll give you a good indication as to how they're helping you or hindering you in your life. And that for me is all the joy and the bliss and the beauty that Margaret Mary has chosen to share today on this beautiful sunny day. I'm gathering it's not sunny in NZ today, because you look like you're all rugged up like it's freezing cold.
It's raining. Oh, I love the rain. I'm so grateful for the rain. You see,
I
I'm
am
going
grateful for the rain.
Yeah.
Because you can put your wellies on and go outside and jump in it and jump in puddles and act like a 5-year-old. So that
I'm going to jump barefooted. Like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, in the grass.
Ice cold toes.
Oh, come on.
I
Where's
know.
the
It's
fun?
good fun. It is good fun. It
Where's
is
the
really good fun.
And just imagine like you're skydiving in this type of weather. Wow. Magical.
No, it might make the parachute a bit soggy. No, thank you. Hard pass. Clear conditions only. Thank you so very much.
But that's what you're going to write in your magical practices. And thank you for sharing the magic, you know, like that's a good book to refer to and to remind ourselves that every single day you can find 10 things to be grateful for, 10 new things. And it really challenge yourself every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And something, you know what? Get your kids into it. Get your partner into it. Make an very American style, but the attitude of gratitude to have it happening in your household, because you might find that it really changes things. Opportunities might start popping up, you know, unexpected wins in all sorts of ways and shapes and forms may start to come for all of you, should you choose to be grateful for what you have. So that is me for this lovely, delightful Tuesday morning. And I'm assuming this is you, Mr. David, on this great Tuesday lunchtime for you.
Yeah. Yes, it's lunchtime. But thank you so much for today, for sharing, for, you know, like starting the podcast. And I feel that every single week there's a new reminder and something that I maybe like heard the same week, or we are on the same page as always doing alignment. And I love that you're still doing the inner work. It's not like I'm a self-love coach now, you know, I know everything about love. It's like, yeah, I'm good. But now you choose to do the inner work, to go to dive into the deep end, to jump off, you know, a cliff as well.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
No
and to
parachute,
jump,
thanks very much.
and to bungee jump in New Zealand, like, come on. We are saying that to the universe every single week. That's going to shut up.
I know.
Just like the house, you know, like, and I feel that the reminder about gratitude is really important when you're talking about yourself and the capital S self, like that's a good reminder because it knows best, it's your best guide, it's your best teacher. There is no other like podcast out there that's better than your inner self, and I will leave on that. Thank you so much because I feel that there are so many questions that we have asked the listeners today.
True
that they need to do some journaling and just ask themselves and come back if you have any queries, or you feel that we need to deepen on one question, or you feel that we need to deepen on one topic. Please let us know. We all welcome that. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for showing up, Tina. I really appreciate it.
No problem. It's always beautiful to spend time with you on a Tuesday, and to all of our Mauritian friends who choose to dial in every week. We love you, and we're so very grateful for you coming and joining us on this fabulous journey. And until next week and episode 23, have a fabulous week and take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Ciao.